Hello and welcome to another Maintenance Right on Schedule tutorial. My name is David, and in this video, we'll be exploring our inventory item detail page, showing what information can be added, how it can be used to help simplify a resupply, and see the history for that part on your boat. This is just one video in a series on our new inventory feature, so be sure to check out lots of other topics on our inventory tutorials page at maintenanceros.com/tutorials or on our inventory playlist on YouTube. Let's dive in. If you've seen any other videos in our inventory series, hopefully this main inventory page is starting to look pretty familiar. In order to access the specific part details page, we have to select a part. I'm going to keep this pretty simple, come on down and just select my Volvo oil filter. This brings us to the item detail page. And first and foremost, what I'm concerned about is what quantity do we currently have and the minimum quantity that we have set. Now, the first thing that I want to cover is additional part information that you can edit only on this page. So you can see there's a few blank things here, haven't set anything up yet. Let's go ahead and edit some more details. We have some fields here that can be helpful, especially if you want to group parts into various categories. We can kind of note that here. Since this is an oil filter for my Volvo Penta engines, I'm going to call this the engine category. Now, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I typically found that once I identified a good vendor for specific parts, I went back to them over and over again. That's why we have these fields down here. Let's say for these oil filters, I constantly buy them from Marine Parts Source. And if you have a URL to either that vendor or the specific part, you can capture that here. I happen to have the page open for this specific oil filter needed for the engines. So I can copy that in there and easily come back to use that whenever I need to reorder the part in the future. Now, lastly, if you have any notes that you want to take about the part in question, you can capture anything and everything here. Let's say it's helpful to remember that the O-ring is included. So that way I don't have to worry about sourcing that as well. Now I can go ahead and hit save and we're done. Now, I've found it helpful in the past to have a bit of a reminder for what the part actually looks like. It certainly saves a bit of time rather than having to examine every item in the locker. So we've given you the ability to upload an image of the part. It's pretty simple and straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and select a file. I have got a picture of the oil filter itself. So we will open that and it should pretty quickly upload it. And now we have a reference that I can come back and look at if I ever need a reminder of exactly what this oil filter looks like. Let's keep moving on and check out the rest of the page. A little further down, it's also very helpful to see where you've designated the item exists in a storage location. Now this is set up when you are first creating the item, but if you ever need to change where that's located or add another location, you can do that here using the change button. Now, this process should look pretty familiar by now, but just for fun, let's say we've decided to split up where we're going to store our oil filters. Now, I'm going to move some into a new place. This time, I'm going to call this oil filter reorg, and I'm going to want to change some from the group that is stored here in this Volvo Penta bin. And I'm going to want to add a new group to where we're going to move them to. Now I can either set up a new group entirely, or let's say in the past I had kept some in my starboard engine room, and I'm going to go ahead and put some back there. I can go ahead and select this one, and now I need to change the units in terms of where they're stored. So I have 8 in total that are currently in my midship cabinet. I want to take, say, 3 of those and move 3 of them into the starboard engine room. So they both have the same model number, but now they're just going to be a different location. So I can hit save, and scroll down. And now we have 2 different storage locations, and we can very quickly see how many we have in each location. The next thing further on down the page is the change log. Here you can see all of the inventory interactions for this part, and you can either sort to show all the interactions, or if you want to see just the times that you've used an item or purchased an item, you can do that as well. Which I will say, if you've been good about keeping track of your receipts, that means it's pretty easy to go ahead and look at all of your purchases and go back and find that information here. I find that pretty helpful. Now at the bottom of the page, we have our associated tasks section. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can see all the maintenance tasks that have been set up to use this part. If you click on the task name, it's going to take you to the task page. If you click on the equipment name, it's going to take you to the equipment page. And all of these, you can see how much, or going on down, you can see the part is being used as part of that piece of equipment. If I go back to the inventory items detail page, if we want to add any additional associated tasks, you can do that here using the add button. Now there is one last thing I want to cover on this item detail page, and that is back up at the top and use this drop down menu. So change quantity, that's going to take you to the update inventory process, which I've covered in depth in other tutorials. But this is one of my favorite shortcuts. If you're looking at an item and realize you want to buy some more, you can use this add to shopping list option to quickly add it to your shopping list. Now, this way adds it in, then you can track your buying process using the shopping list feature. Find that really nice and easy. Now, when I come back to the item page, now the option has changed in the dropdown. Rather than add to shopping list, we can now have view on our shopping list. Now the other options on here, edit details, that's going to take you to the same details section that we talked about earlier in this video over here. If you can hopefully guess what the associate tasks is going to be for, which leaves the tracking settings. Now clicking on this is going to take you to the inventory page within your boat settings. Now here you can adjust all the attributes that will be tracked for this particular inventory item. Now selecting additional attributes like a serial number is going to ask you to give a default serial number, which will be applied to all the current items in your inventory. You can then go in and use the update inventory process to split everything into different groups and add specific serial numbers. Now, alternatively, if you want to remove an attribute, you're going to get a warning that's saying the system is going to merge all the inventory groups together. Now, it won't remove the items from your inventory, but you'll lose the information that had been previously tracked. So you will no longer see the manufacturer and model number. Now, if you want to delete an item altogether, that's down here at the bottom with the danger zone. I have another tutorial that's going to talk a little bit more about the specific delete process, so go check that one out if you're interested. But for now, that's going to wrap up this tutorial video on our inventory items detail page. There's a lot of information available on this page for you, and we did put a lot of thought into how this page can be helpful as you manage your inventory. Please be sure to check out our other inventory tutorials, and as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at maintenanceros.com or leave a comment down below. Thanks so much for watching, and happy boating.